Hi, everyone. Hope you had a good lunch break, maybe tea break. And welcome to the Research Action Workshop. So maybe, I guess most of you here are here to answer the question of how do we turn research insights into actual interventions. As some of you might know, Ella and I at Good Growth, we work on market research on farm animal welfare, alternative proteins, and the animal advocacy landscape in Asia. And we spent 3 years doing this, and we're hearing more and more from both funders and advocates that they want more action. And so how do we do this? We're going to offer an agenda that can answer this question in 3 steps. First, we're going to present a framework for taking action with your research insights. And then we're actually going to go into some examples of insights from reports that have been published on Asia. And then we're going to have a live try of how do we actually turn these insights into action with this framework. So a little bit of background on us, first of all. Before we became full-time market researchers in the animal space, we both actually worked in entrepreneurship. So Ella has been working in corporate innovation, working with one of the largest property management firms across Asia, with properties in China and Southeast Asia, helping them launch new ventures, products, services across the region. And then my background, I started off as an entrepreneur, working in a startup that also serves across Asia. And when I sold that company, I then went into work at accelerators and incubators, supporting those entrepreneurs in understanding their customers, launching new products, and exploring new markets. So that's our background in building things and doing research. So the framework that we have found to be quite effective is this idea called design sprint. So this was actually made popular in the startup and technology space, especially by Google Ventures, who uses this process to launch products and services around technology in particular. So the basic premise is you can actually run this really quickly over the course of 1 week. And every day you have a different theme. So the first day is mapping, then where you try to understand the problem, map out different stakeholders, define the specific problem that you're trying to solve. The next one, you start planning and prioritizing. And then in the third stage, you start making. So this includes brainstorming and creating prototypes, which you then test with potential users, customers, stakeholders in the 4th day. The whole idea is to build something very quickly and do many tests with your potential stakeholders to de-risk what you're actually building and maximize the chances of success while saving costs of building the wrong thing. So a quick overview of this process. The first one is about mapping, and this is where a lot of the market research comes in. So here you're trying to understand, well, what is the context that you're working with? Who are you really trying to solve a problem for? And so there are different ways to do research here. It can vary from qualitative, structured interviews where you're learning about users or customers or stakeholders one-on-one. It could be surveys. It could be desktop research. And Fonalytics, if you haven't heard of them, they provide a very good database of different types of research where you can try to learn about your context and map the landscape. The second stage is more on the planning, and this is where we really want to scope down on what is the problem that we're trying to solve. One way we can do this is by asking for W's. So what is the problem? Where is it happening? Who is involved in this problem? Who is facing it? Who's creating it? Who has influence over it? And why is it happening? So I'm going to do a little experiment and try to do this with all of us here. So one problem that we have heard identified is the idea that, well, animals in Asia are treated very poorly in wet markets. So the problem being animals treated poorly, location in wet markets across Asia. And so my question to you is, let's define this problem. So why is this happening? Some people, so let's start with the who. Who thinks this is a consumer problem? Consumers are creating this problem of animals being treated poorly. Okay, 4 or 5 of you. Why do you think this is? Why are consumers the problem? Maria? Normalize. So because consumers think that this is the way that things are done, so no change happens. Any other ideas? Right. Because they want fresh meat and that they think that fresh is high quality. So yeah, that might be another one. So those are two different problem statements. Anyone thinks that the problem is the vendors at street markets, wet markets? And why do you think that is? Mm-hmm. They haven't established a protocol for treating animals better. Okay. Any other reasons? Okay, let's move on to regulators. Who thinks it's regulators that's the problem? Okay, most people. Anybody want to say why you think that is? What's wrong? Why are regulators not treating animals better? Or, okay, because there are no laws that regulators can enforce or legislate. Okay, so this is also lack of legislation. Okay, so maybe legislation and enforcement on the regulator side. Okay, well, thank you for helping us. Okay, well, this is a great discussion. So we're really diving into, okay, it seems like a surface level, and then we're like, why is this happening? And why is that happening? So we're kind of going deeper and deeper. And that is really specifically the idea of defining the problem. So you actually came up with really good ideas, and we wanted to give a couple of examples. When we go into the brainstorming stage, we take this specific problem statement and we frame it as a question or an opportunity or a problem that we're trying to solve. So if we think that consumers are the problem, we might ask, how might we deter consumers from wanting fresh meat? Or how might we change the perception that live animal slaughter is how we get good quality meat? Another way might be if you think that the problem is with the vendors not having a centralized slaughterhouse and so you can't control the welfare of animals, how might we produce more like a centralized slaughtering system? And so here is when we take the problem, we reframe it into a way that makes it easier for us to generate ideas. Then we want to actually build out those ideas. So once we answer the question of how might we and we come up with lots of different ideas, we want to build mini versions of them to start testing with our stakeholders. So for example, on the left, if you want to create like a digital product, you might start by creating a storyboard. So looking at what steps the user will take when they're using your product. Then you can move into a more sophisticated type of prototype, so like a landing page or a website. Another way is you might be building you're thinking about more of a business. Maybe you're like, I have a plant-based startup idea. And so you can use different types of canvases that can help you map out your business before you fully launch into this big project that's going to cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Okay, so now I've given you a brief overview of what this framework could look like. We're going to try to test this out, but before we jump in, let's give you a few insights to work with. Ella will share with you.
Hello. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Ying. Because we only have 45 minutes for this workshop, we're condensing the whole process into 45 minutes. And what I'll start with is sharing some insights that we've compiled from existing reports. So for example, Animal Alliance Asia, they're here. They've done research on the Asia landscape. Asia for Animals Coalition capacity team, they're also here. They've also done some research with stakeholders. And then for us, we also have done some research on the Asia advocacy landscape. So here are just some high-level insights to get your brain juices thinking about what the problems might be. So I think this one is everyone knows what the issue is. There's very low public awareness of farm animal issues. But if we look into more detail about what the challenge and opportunity is, the challenge is, no one cares. But what are some opportunities? So the research reports have identified, for example, that there's a lot of space to work with influencers. Influencers is very important. Social media is very important in Asia. And to work with people who might not necessarily be vegan influencers or animal influencers yet, especially in Muslim majority countries, working with Muslim influencers increases the trustworthiness to public as well. And then also is to connect the issue with broader sustainability movement. So this is talking about issues that resonate with the public more. So, I think all of you know about health, climate change, but actually also pollution is something that a lot of consumers find a lot easier to understand. So if you tell them animal farming causes water pollution, air pollution, methane, these are concepts that are easier for them to grasp and maybe resonate with. Another one is just the movement overall. Major challenges, there just aren't many organizations in the region, so it's hard to work together. There might be language, cultural barriers that prevent cross-country collaboration. But then on the flip side, the opportunity is these are small orgs, individual activists. They're more keen, more flexible to work with each other. The last one is lack of funding. I think everyone might empathize with this. There's also a heavy reliance, especially on farm animal welfare, on Western funders. And we all know as Asian advocates, there's an increasing restrictions, not just in the big countries, small countries as well, on getting international funding. So that's one big challenge. Another one is just overall, there's a perception from the public that there's a greater need to help humans. So why are we talking about helping animals? On the flip side, I think we also all know there's actually a lot of money in Asia, a lot of high net worth individuals, a lot of foundations working in sustainability, climate change, etc. Corporates, so that's a popular way a lot of charities in Asia fundraise, and individuals. Have we tapped into the vegan network? I know it's small, but are we getting small donors involved? So I think these are all challenges that we've then translated into questions for everyone today.
Okay, so now we have taken these problems and we framed them into these how might we questions. So we picked 3. So on the public awareness challenge, our question is, how might we incentivize social media influencers to promote animal-friendly messages? On the movement side, how can we provide spaces for Asian advocates to connect and coordinate? And on the funding side, how might we increase funding from Asia, but specifically like local donors? How do we tap into them, get them interested? So have a quick think about which problem you'd like to work on, because we're going to split you in groups and we're going to come up with ideas to solve these problems.
Yeah, so there's no more talking from us. Now it's you guys. Let's do, can we go back to the team? So if you want to work on the public awareness problem, maybe you can sit here up front. Yeah. And then with the movement level problem over here. And then funding at the back there. Okay, so go.
Okay, so if you've sat down in your group, then the first thing we like to do is just to let everyone get to know each other. So first step, is everyone ready? Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Okay. First step, find someone in your group that you don't know. Introduce yourself. Try to find one thing that's in common between your pair. And then draw or write that thing that you have in common in 6 words on a Post-it. We'll be handing out Post-its, so go find your person, go find that common thing you have. For those who are still wondering, the instructions are, find one person that you don't know in your group, introduce yourself and find one thing in common. Then draw or write what you have in common on a Post-it. All right, time is up. Don't worry if you have not finished. That was just a practice round, okay? Can I get everyone's attention, please? Thank you. All right, now we're going to be moving on to the real part of the brainstorming, where we're going to start coming up with ideas for the 3 different problems that you've chosen. The first step is that we're going to do this individually, in silence. You have 3 minutes. Each person needs to come up with 3 ideas to answer your how might we question. So one more time. Individually, silently, we're going to come up with 3 ideas, each person. Okay? You have 3 minutes. Then we're going to share in the group. For the question that you've chosen. So how might we on the social media? How might we for the advocates in Asia? How might we for funding from Asia? Does anyone else have any questions? If not, 3 minutes starts now. So write 1 idea on each post-it. Each post-it should only have 1 idea. Well done, that was first round. Now we're going to share, but we have very limited time. So each person share your idea, but you only describe your idea in 1 sentence. No explanation. All right? You got 3 minutes. Let's go. Don't explain, don't ask questions, just describe your idea in 1 sentence. If you didn't get through everything, you might still have a chance in our second round. So we're trying to get as many ideas as possible, but in the second round, you can build on the ideas that you've heard from other people in your group. That means you can expand them, you can revise them, you can change them. And so we're gonna do just 2, we're gonna give you 5 minutes again. This time we only need 2 ideas from you. You have a little bit more time to think. Then after we do this, we're going to will allow you to discuss in the group, and then we're going to try to cluster similar ideas together. What we're trying to end up with is groups of different clusters of different ideas, and then we're going to vote as a group in your small groups which one is the best idea. That's going to be the final idea, and then we're going to share it with everyone in the room. Are there any questions? Okay, so you have 5 minutes. 2 more ideas. Silently, individually. Let's go. Okay, let's wrap up our individual ideas, and then now we're going to share and cluster. We have a group that has already started doing that. So what you can do is actually use the wall over here. You can paste up your ideas as you share that with your group members, and then you can put the ideas that are similar close together. Does that make sense? Why don't we all get a space in the wall and we can try it, and we can help you out if you need any help. Okay. If you have clustered your ideas, if you have put your similar ideas together, the next step is to vote for 1 idea. Vote for 1 idea, best idea within your group. And then we're going to share with everyone. Okay, so we're going to start sharing our ideas.
Okay, everyone, we're going to start sharing. Maybe we'll start with this group. Hi, everyone. That group over there. Okay, 1 person.
To increase public awareness, we can promote the image of the social media influencer as an animal welfare advocate.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, okay, so our idea is to increase collaboration opportunities and offer the social media influencers with brand deals. And it's supposed to be something related to the work that the influencer already does. So for example, if we want to work with an artist, we can offer a partnership with a local clothing store, for example, to release merchandise, something like that. Nice. Yeah.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, on the donor side, how do we increase local donors from Asia?
We talked about high net worth individuals, and then there's already the Asia philanthropic network that exists, and they already consider sort of more health, education, social issues. So our idea was sort of having maybe a very select invitation-only sort of closed opportunity to engage them and present the protein transition, animal welfare issues in a systems way that relate to what they're interested in, so One Health and other things, and try and get them interested in these topics. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Actually, amazingly, we had a really similar idea to Kate's group, so they were obviously listening to us. We came up with like you said, like researching groups like high net worth individuals, philanthropists, impact investors, etc., which are interested in One Health topics like human health or environmental health, but they're maybe not yet aware of the crossover with our cause, and then funneling all of those donor groups to like a one-stop shop place where we can educate them and connect them. So it's like educating and stimulating funding, basically.
Great, thank you. So moving on to the Asian movement and creating spaces. Let's start with this group.
So we talked a lot around all these topics, but So what we came up with was in-country coordinated working group meetups.
Nice. Thank you. This group?
Thank you. So what we came up with is an exhaustive database that is secure and reliable of animal advocates across Asia. And this database needs to be exhaustive, so it can be sorted by profession. So you can have a network of lawyers or a network of journalists who want to help animals. And for that to be accessible but also secure.
Well, thank you everyone for doing a super fast, one more group.
So our topic is about incentivize social media influencer to join the awareness campaign. So we gonna get 2 or 3 key influencers first, and then build the momentum by letting them challenge each other, and in the end, the one with the most creative or viral content gonna receive the prize from us.
Nice.
Hello. Continuing with the same topic, our idea is that conducting research about the influencers and identifying different groups, and finally targeting a particular group with relevant message concerning animal welfare. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for participating in a super, super short design sprint. The last thing we want to say is, if you're actually interested in continuing on in the sprint and building out some of these ideas, actually we know of some people who are trying to work on this influencer work. Some people who are also doing some things around the Asian coordination. Actually less on the funder side, but if you are interested, still let us know. So if you want to keep going and you want to be connected with people who are doing these projects, come to us afterwards. We can connect you with those people and actually try to test these projects and launch them into the real world. Well, thank you so much for brainstorming with us. That's a wrap.